Hey everybody, Noah here. Want to show you guys the 2023 edition to Breaking into Customer Success. Now the agenda. Who am I? Why should you listen to me? What is customer success? Different CS jobs. If I had to start over again, what would I do? Where to look for jobs? What's the interview process looking like? Why networking is a huge waste of time? Are CM certifications actually worth it? Resume and LinkedIn. The reality of actually being a CSM. And of course, the money. So first things first, why should you listen to me, this random person on YouTube? Well, a few years ago, I was actually an Uber Eats driver, making $20,000 a year. Yes, 20,000, and that's 20,000 Canadian, not American. So, not that much money. As you can see here, it took me about 4 years to finally be making some real money. And after 4 years, I'm over $100,000 as an enterprise customer success manager. This is just to show you how long it does take. It will take you between 2 to 3 years, maybe 4 years for some of you. However, the destination is achievable. And I want to show you that I was an Uber Eats driver. I did actually have to start in customer support. Then I was a customer success manager. Then I was a senior customer success manager. Then a team lead. Then enterprise. So that's my journey, and I want to give you a little bit of a taste of how I came to where I am today. What is customer success? There's a lot of buzzwords. People don't really know what it is. So customer success is simply the human-facing element of technology companies. So you're the connection between the clients and the software or the service that the company sells. Your job is to actually ensure the product or the service you sell is delivering value. So are they using all the features? So if we were to use TikTok, for example, and you're a customer success manager for a company using TikTok, you have to ensure they're using the video editing. Are they using all the filters? Are they doing voiceovers? Are they doing live streamings? Are they doing the stitch? Are they doing duet? Are they adding music? All these different features to maximize value for those users who are using TikTok. So that's a quick example there. And finally, when problems arise, you are the one to solve it. So different customer success jobs. So the first one is customer support. This is very frequently how people get their start in customer success. They actually start in customer support. I know many people, myself included, who started in customer support and then worked their way up. Next is onboarding and implementation. This is in between customer support and a customer success manager. Implementation and onboarding is typically the first 30 days or 90 days with the customer when they're just getting everything set up. Think of it as getting your car set up, or somebody who's setting up your TikTok or your Facebook account, just to kind of get you onboarded onto the software. Next is an associate customer success manager. From there, that's actually more of a junior role or a junior customer success manager. And then finally, there's a customer success manager, but there's different levels of being a customer success manager. There's SMB, local small businesses, so it could be a plumbing business or a dentist or a doctor business. Mid-market, so these are established companies that are rising a couple $1 million a year. And then there's the enterprise customer success managers that work for Walmart, Shopify, Apple, Facebook. If I had to start over, what would I do differently? I would actually join a startup again, which is actually what I did in the first place, to get the reps and experience. And a lot of people say startups are tough, and they are super tough. However, you get so much experience. Let me break this down for you. I was doing between 5 to 7 kickoff calls a day, about 5 days a week. So taking those calls and that number of calls, I'm doing about 100 kickoff calls a month. If you times that by 12 a full year, I've done 1,200 kickoff calls. Some people have never done that many kickoff calls in their entire lifetime. So startups are a great way to actually get the reps, get the experience for all the highs and all the lows. Next, I would actually work for an American company or an EU company. They have a lot more money in comparison to Asian companies or Canadian companies. That's just, GDP and payment schemes. I'd also ensure my boss was there to teach me skills. Your boss and your mentor is going to be a way to fast forward your skill set to become a better CSM. So you want to actually ask, can this person teach me things? It's like having a good teacher or a bad teacher. A good teacher will be able to enhance your learning. You're going to level up. Versus a bad teacher, and we've all had bad teachers, they're not going to be able to help you as much. So you really want to be knowing that it was a strong boss, and I was lucky as well. Have clear objectives to reach the next level of my career. I didn't really know what I want to do other than be a CSM. And frankly speaking, I didn't even know a CSM role existed. I just joined this company as a support agent or a support person. So when you join a startup, make sure that you can actually grow and understand the career path, because if you don't, you're going to feel resentment, you're going to feel frustration because you're not going to know what your path is or your next step in your career. Where to look for jobs? So this is a huge question I get always asked. Where do I go? Where do I go? LinkedIn. No, LinkedIn's at the bottom. We're going to start at the top here. WeWorkRemotely.com. The goal here is not to be in an office 5 days a week. Unless you like that thing, That's not for me. That's not for most people these days post-COVID. So WeWorkRemotely.com is incredible. Y Combinator? Y Combinator is actually a startup-only fund for new startups. So basically, they give new startups every single year a bunch of money to get the business off the ground. So Y Combinator was actually where I got my start at a startup company. So it's a great way to start. Well Found, formerly known as AngelList, again, they only post typically smaller companies to medium-sized businesses. Another great way to get in. You don't typically need as much experience. You're looking for bodies. Startupjobs.com, obviously, is a startup. And finally, Twitter. This is super underutilized, and I still think that people don't believe me when I say it. Go to Twitter, type in customer success manager or customer support or onboarding specialist. There's jobs every single day that are posted. And finally, yes, of course, LinkedIn. But the problem with LinkedIn is that everybody's actually on LinkedIn just like you. So if you actually want to have a competitive advantage over all your peers versus the entire pool, go somewhere else. Also hit up LinkedIn. There's going to be a lot of other job boards that are hiring. Interview process. What does the interview process typically look like? It is 3 to 5 rounds. It's no longer 1 or 2 rounds and you're in. First round is typically with HR. They see what your experience is, what you've done. If you pass that first round, you're then going to go to your manager. This is the person you're probably going to be working for. And they're going to ask you a lot more customer-oriented questions. What did you achieve? What did you not achieve? What skills do you have? What are you trying to look towards? What's your 5-year plan? Things of that nature. Then they're often going to give you a case study. So they might give you a situation with a customer they're dealing with. They might give you an assignment, something typically that you have to present to that manager. Following this, if they like you or they confirm your skill sets, you're going to have to do that same presentation sometimes to a director who's above your manager. And finally, you get that all amazing offer. So we'll take 3 to 5 rounds. I've actually been through a process that was actually 9 rounds, but that was for a head of customer success. So it typically won't be 9 rounds, but you can definitely expect between 3 to 5 rounds of interviews. Networking is a huge waste of time. In 2023, this is very controversial, so let me explain it to you. You should only be reaching out to people on LinkedIn to learn about their experience, not for the underlying ask for a job or recommendation. So oftentimes I am seeing other people in CS say, go network on LinkedIn, go network on LinkedIn, go network on LinkedIn. No stranger on the internet is going to give you a good word and risk their reputation at their own company. That is crazy. That's like saying if you work at a restaurant and somebody off the street writes to you on Instagram or LinkedIn or Twitter, you have a little conversation with them and they say, hey, could you recommend me for a job at your restaurant? You're like, sorry, I don't know you. That's basically what people are doing when they say to network on LinkedIn. It mind boggles me the fact that people are telling others to do this. It's insane. However, what you could do is ask a CSM to see their resume that you could model after. Ask a CSM how to break into CS. What did they do? If they were a teacher, or maybe they were in hospitality, or they were in education, how did they get into CS? You could also ask them about emerging industries such as healthcare, AI, education, environment. Hey, no, I see that you're working in e-commerce. I'd love to be a CSM in e-commerce. Would you speak to me for 15 minutes? 100%. But people don't want to feel used, and people are not going to put their reputation on the line for you just to get that little offer. So I always say, go in to seek knowledge, not for getting some type of job recommendation. It's really not going to happen for you. And as well, all the time you're wasting networking, you could actually spend time applying to jobs instead. Why CSM certifications are a scam? I know, more controversial topics, Noah, but certifications are not skills. They are an exposure to knowledge. There's many courses on Udemy, on YouTube, on Teachable that will just expose you to knowledge. A CSM hacker certification, shots fired, I know, will not land you a job, right? Have you ever heard of a sales certification? No. Have you ever heard of a CEO certification? No. Now, think of somebody you know who owns businesses and are successful. Do they all attend business schools and they have their MBA? Me personally, my most 2 successful friends, one is a physiotherapist and the other is a plumber. And I promise you, they both did not go to business school. So just want you to think about that. Certifications are just paper, right? It actually doesn't mean necessarily a skill set transfer. What courses or certifications actually would help? Well, I would say Salesforce, HubSpot, SQL, Gainsight, and Turn Zero. So Salesforce is what a lot of companies actually use to keep track of data, and it's very common. HubSpot is a bit of a cheaper version of that, but a lot of companies, especially startups, do use HubSpot. So if you can actually learn that, that's going to give you a leg up on the competition because you know how to use their software. Somebody doesn't have to teach you. SQL is a very basic coding language that I'm actually learning right now as I say this to you. It's a great way to look through data to parse things out to understand it. Finally, Gainsight and Turn Zero. It's a piece of software that sits on top of Salesforce, specifically for customer success managers. They have some free certifications and courses that you can learn, again, just to level you up. But these are the only certifications and courses that are free and will actually help you get forward. Don't waste your time spending on CSM certification courses. It will not get you a job. Resume and LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the Facebook of your experience. As much as you might hate Facebook, everybody's on Facebook these days. As much as you might hate LinkedIn, you got to have a LinkedIn page. Recruiters will look into it. They will have to understand, who is this person? What have you been doing for the last 10 years? Where did you go to school? What type of experiences did you come from? And make sure you're keeping this up to date. Resume. Please do not have 25 skills that you're collaborative, you're a good communicator, you're hardworking, and all these lists of things. You should actually be talking about the impact, the changes you implemented at the business, and that revenue contribution. So an example would be, I increased car sales by 10% by doing text messages to following up with my clients. I was voted the top bartender at 2022 at the restaurant business. Or if you're working at a charity, maybe you increased charitable donations from 1 million to 2 million. Those are all impact and changes and business revenue contributions that you can speak to. Lastly, ask a CSM to see their resume. As I already mentioned to you, that's a great way to use LinkedIn. Ask a CSM, ask me, hey Noah, can I see your resume? 100%. Then you can actually see what a true CSM resume would look like. The realities of being a CSM. So there are pros and cons. Pros are the remote work. Now for me, I love being remote. I'm doing this video right now in Scandinavia. So I love the fact that I can work remotely anywhere in the world. Variety of each day. Every single day has been different at all the different jobs that I've had. I've never had the same day twice, which I love. Pay is great. Being a customer success manager in tech, that's no lie. Everybody knows that. Helping people. I'm a true helper. Many of these people who are looking at being a CSM are also true helpers, and you actually get to be fulfilled by that. You get to grow people's businesses. When I used to work for dentists and doctors and physiotherapists for SMB, I was actually able to grow in these people's businesses and actually help them grow. It's an incredible feeling to know when a company is expanding, they're hiring more people, they're making more money. It's a great way to do that. And now I do that at a much larger scale, but I still get to help people grow their businesses and grow their dreams. Lastly, it's a very high demand job. So CSMs, as you've seen in probably the last 2 or 3 years, is a very high demand job. Especially with the recession, you're actually seeing a lot higher focus on customer centrism or customer retention, because people aren't spending so much money, they're trying to hold on to it, right? That's why customer success managers are so important in a recessive economy. Cons. High stress. It can be very high stress. You have challenging customers. You can have a very high workload as well. I actually do know a few friends that have burned out a few times because they're a customer success manager. This can take an emotional toll with you. Oftentimes people take that on of a difficult situation or a challenging customer. It can really be tough, for lack of a better term. The money. Let's talk about the money. Customer success manager salaries range from $48,000 to $170,000 plus bonus and other forms of variable compensation, with the median CSM salary sitting at $94,000 plus bonus. This was a survey done in 2022 by the Tango surveys of CSMs. Now let's break that down by the vertical. So SMBs, or small business CSM, you'll make between 60 to 80,000 according to this data. Mid-market, again, those bit of bigger companies, 80 to 120. And then enterprise, 120 to 200,000. These are all USD dollars. So there is obviously some pretty good money here in the CSM world. What else? Well, comment on the video here for questions, concerns, something I didn't cover, or something you want me to go deeper into. And finally, check out my ebook if you are interested in landing a job in customer success. I got interview tips, I got job boards I didn't talk about here, I got cover letters, I got different resumes, I got a huge wealth of experience that I downloaded from my brain that I took in 6 months to write to help people like yourself. Thanks for your time and attention.